Hey, this is Suzanne Mosley. I'm an Usborne Books and More consultant, and I wanted to highlight some of my favorite books for younger children, for babies and toddlers, and even preschoolers would enjoy these books. And yeah, so let's take a peek at some of them. The first one I wanted to show you is Muddle and Match, and this is a new title for Usborne to carry. And my youngest son, who's 4.5, has not been able to put this book down. And one thing I love about it is that it's hilarious. And it just allows he and I to spend a lot of time together, just poring over it again and again and again, and laughing. And it's just a great book to bond with your child through as you're reading it together. So let me show you what it looks like. So on the inside of Muddle and Match, there are 3 different sections. There's a head, body, and feet. And there's a lot of different characters. There's pirates, there's a cowboy, there's a astronaut, and basically, as you see, you manipulate the 3 sections and it makes a funny character. Like this is a cowboy knight race car driver, and then it's just a really silly story. Colin, the courageous cowboy, knows he will need to be nimble to retain his record and reach the reward. So it's just really funny. It is nonsensical, and your smaller children will think this is hilarious. So anyway, this is Muddle and Match, and this is the boy version. There is a girl version, and it has a cute little mermaid on the front, and it's pink and purple, and it's super cute. So even if you don't have boys, you can get the girl version, or girls will like this one too. So that's Muddle and Match. One of the other titles that are good for babies, toddlers, and preschoolers are the Usborne series, That's Not My. And we have, wow, I think there's over 50 titles in this series. This one is That's Not My Goat, and it's a great book for young kids because it's a very sturdy, it's a hardback book, and these are not your typical boardback books. They're thicker, and so they'll be easy to kind of clean, and they also, just the thickness prevents them from getting bent easily, which can happen a lot with thinner board books. Anyway, the corners are rounded, and they're built to last, which is always a hallmark of Usborne books, which I love. The fun thing about the That's Not My books is that they're touchy-feely books, so they are, so your child, you're again bonding with your child as you read, and so you're reading the page, That's Not My Goat, its spots are too fuzzy. So they're hearing the word fuzzy, but they're also getting to touch the touchy-feely part of the book to connect with, oh, that's what fuzzy means. Okay, so, and this is the end. It all leads up to this. That's my goat. Its beard is so fluffy. So then they get to touch the fluffy beard. So there's tons of these. There's That's Not My Duck, That's Not My Monster, That's Not My Truck, That's Not My Panda. So a lot of fun options with this. There's even like a collection of That's Not My books so that you can get a larger quantity of the books, which makes each book individually discounted slightly. So that would be great to buy the collection of That's Not My books, and then you have them for baby gifts, birthday parties. Just buy the collection, and then you have your birthday parties for the next several months taken care of. So that's a fun one. This is one of the oldest Usborne books that there is. It's called There's a Mouse About the House, and it is amazing because it comes with a little mouse. And your kids will love this. My sons are 9, 7, and 4.5, and they all love this, all of them. So this is not just for younger people in your house, but your older elementary kids will love it too. So the premise of this book is that there is a mouse about the house, and you take the mouse, and he follows this little dotted line throughout the book, and each page has a little hole, a little slit that the mouse goes through. So put it through there. There's his tail, and you will see him on the other side. So you read the story, he follows the little dotted line, and then it goes into the slit, which I'm struggling with at the moment. If my sons were here, they would help me. You put it in again. Crumbs! That was close. I'll come back later for the cheese. So again, you follow, and here's the next little slit. And that happens all the way through the book until you get to the very end. And the mouse safely escapes from the cat at the end. Dun, 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 and then it says, let's do it again. And of course, your kids will want to do it because so fun. There's also one about a squirrel. There's a squirrel version. There's a squirrel in the tree. So that is that's another fun book for younger ones, or even the older kids in your house. Okay, so the next I want to show you, there are gobs and gobs of the noisy books. This is the baby's very first noisy book farm version. We have a lot of these with Usborne. This is recommended for about age 9 to 12 months. So you're reading what the cow says, and then they find the animal and they push it, and then it makes the moo sound. Then there's a duck, and it goes on. So this is the farm version. We have a lot of the sound books, which are really fun for kids of this age. And again, it's got the rounded corners and the really thick hardback version to make sure that lasts. And then this is my favorite. I love this book. This is the complete book of Farmyard Tales. And again, these are books for younger kids, but I love even my older boys are loving this book. So this is what Usborne calls a combined volume, which means that it is multiple books inside one hardback. So this is actually 20 books. Initially, these were individual books that Usborne sold, and there were 20 of them. So they have combined them into a really thick, nice hardback version. And the characters in this book are just so sweet. It's Mr. and Mrs. Boots. They live on a farm. They have kids, Bobby and Sam. They have a dog, Rusty, and a pig, Curly. And it's just all the adventures on their farm with Mr. and Mrs. Boots. And the thing that I enjoy about any of the books by Stephen Cartwright is that they always have a hidden duck on each page. So if you'll notice, there's a hidden duck. So you look for the hidden duck while you're reading the story, which is another just fun way to use it. And then there's the hidden book on the second page. The duck sit on the second page. Apple Tree Farm is where they live. It's great. And you'll probably notice, I think I can see in the video, so I'll get a little closer. You'll notice another thing that I love about the Farmyard Tales is that it's what's called a dual reader. So you'll notice this short sentence on the top, and then a couple more detailed sentences here on the bottom. So this is what Usborne calls a dual reader. So every page in this book has 2 lines of text. So the top line is shorter, so you can use this for younger children whose attention span's really short. You can read it with them and then go on to the next page. Or if you have older kids, like lower elementary school kids, and you're reading this with them, you can actually read the text at the bottom, which is longer. Their attention span is longer, so they can stick with you. And it just gives more details about the story that is engaging with older kids. And the other plus about the dual text is that if you have a child that's learning to read, they could use the top text, the top line of text, because they're predominantly sight words, and that could help them practice their reading and just feel the success of reading a book by themselves. So there's multiple ways to use the dual text, which I love, which makes it accessible for so many different ages. So this is the complete book of Farmyard Tales, and another amazing thing about this book is that it's an audiobook. So it comes with a CD of all of 20 of the stories, and actually the narrator is British. Usborne is originally a British company, so the narrator has a British accent. It's awesome. So one way that this just will even help your child with fluency and learning to read and learning vocabulary by listening to the audiobook, which is one of the perks of audiobooks. We use audiobooks all the time with my boys, so I was really excited that there's an audio CD with it. So at rest time or nap time, you can just pop the CD in their CD player, and they can have the book, and they can literally follow along in the book while they're listening to the CD, which is awesome. Just another way for them to be hearing and looking at simultaneously, and then it also is another way for them to be read to if you're in the middle of doing a million things around the house and you can't read them a book at the moment, you can say, hey, do you want to go listen to Farmyard Tales? And they can listen to it and still be engaged with a quality book. So those are some great books that I would recommend for younger kids, and obviously there's a million more, but these are just some of my favorites. So hope you enjoy. Thanks.